What's up, guys? It's Eric, and this video is what to do if you've been cheated on. I've been in a relationship before where I was cheated on, and I probably stuck it out in that relationship a little too long, but this is what to do if you've been cheated on. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, I'm none of that. My name is Eric. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, hit it. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, and MDD. I lost a wife and a father to suicide. I'm a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. And I like to share as many tools and experiences and stories that I can to just help others fight through life. Because of TikTok and how much I get reached out to, I get hit up very, very often. One of the big things is I'm depressed, I'm struggling with anxiety, I'm struggling with depression because my partner has cheated on me. So this is like what I tell people if you've been cheated on. First and foremost, you got to remember that a relationship doesn't define you, that you define you. That was one of the hardest things when I got cheated on I almost took on that burden and blamed myself of like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And I allowed the relationship to kind of define me. And instead of having my own goals and passions, it was like, oh man, I'm living for this relationship and now I'm kind of scrambling to try and put it back together. That is something that you want to stay away from, because when you're doing that, it's out of desperation. You're not thinking clearly. You're not taking time to really figure out what you want and if you want to work through this or not, because it ultimately is your choice. You're not the one that cheated. You're the one that was cheated on. And again, I mean, the pain is great. You want to be able to grieve that. You need to be able to let it out. One of the big things is if it is too much, definitely get with a therapist on it, because it does take some time. A lot of trust is lost. A lot of communication is lost. Also, staying away from the toxic friends and staying away even from social media is a big thing. Because a lot of times what happens if we're cheated on, all of a sudden we don't want to be alone, so we let all of our friends know that we were cheated on. And I'm sorry, but a majority of your friends are going to be like, dump him, dump her, go find somebody else, get under them. I mean, that's what it's going to be. They're going to have your back, which is cool. And you do want people to have your back, but in a supportive fashion of like, hey, whatever you do, you do. That's the biggest thing, because it's extremely damaging and it takes a mental toll, because you have this rush and flood of emotions, and it's kind of like a grieving process almost that you're going through, that at different times you are more vulnerable than at other times. So when you have friends and stuff that are constantly in your ear, especially when the drama unfolds, if you do a Facebook post or if you post it on Snapchat or Instagram, any of that, you have this whole drama that unfolds and it becomes their friends and your friends, and it's kind of that clash together. You really want to stay away from that, because all it's going to do is cause you a bunch of brain damage. And especially going through this, it's really time to sit down and go, okay, what happened? Why did it happen? And is this a relationship I want to be in? It's time to kind of focus on you and not let everybody's opinion try and sway you. If you're looking for somebody to give you the right advice, they're not going to. I mean, I tell people all the time, you got to follow your heart. You got to follow your heart. And it's unfortunate, and I've been guilty of it too. I mean, people lie. I hate to break it to you, people lie. And the communication does break down. Been part of that too. But that is part of life, and you have to understand that. And a lot of times when people are lying, they're lying because they're trying to protect your feelings. It makes things 10 times worse, but we don't think about that at the time. And you want to just slow down and go, figure out what you want. Don't act too quickly. A lot of times there's these really brash acts of haste that, oh, I got to do this. No, take your time with it. Slow it all down. Don't be a victim of the speed and rate that things are going. You're not going to conquer it in one night. And don't be afraid, again, to let it out. One of the big things is reach out even to family. Family is a good one to reach out to, especially if they're non-biased. Just let them know that you need somebody to cry to, somebody to vent to. Venting it and sharing it and getting it out helps tremendously as you start to really determine, is this relationship something I want? Because usually if you catch somebody cheating, one of two things is going to end up happening. You're either going to break up because that person doesn't want to be with you anymore, or they're going to admit, yep, I made a mistake, I want to be with you, and now it's really your choice. And it's your choice the whole entire time. So don't ever feel that way. But you got to remember that you're not to blame and you didn't do anything wrong. And sometimes that I hate to say it, it does happen. They're human beings. It does happen. And there's no excuse or reasoning behind it. You can play the whole, well, I was too drunk, I was too this. But there's always a little bit of reasoning behind it. If you're acting out on a lot of things, it's just my belief that there is already that part of your brain that's kind of rented out to it. So even your subconscious mind knows. But just even seeking out therapy when it comes to it, I do think that if you do work through it, a big one is to do marriage counseling or relationship counseling, because that at least gets the communication back out there. The hardest part is you're always going to want to know why. There really is no why. You're never going to get an answer that satisfies you. It's one of the most self-destructive questions we can ask. Why did you cheat on me? Why did you do this to me? Why did you? And I can tell you that alone is going to lead to just more pain. It's going to lead to more heartbreaks, because the person can even tell you exactly why, but it's not good enough. It won't comprehend in your brain. And it's almost like we just keep putting our finger in the fire because it's like we want to relive the pain, whatever it might be, that you can't do that. That's why it's so important to take some time for yourself. Separate from the significant other for a little bit if you have to take that time for yourself to really figure out what you want to do. One of the big things, like, I'm a huge believer of your goals and passions. Is this somebody that I really want along the way? Can it happen again? Yeah, it can happen again. Will it happen again? Don't know. And you have to be on board with willing to take that risk. Because I'm going to do a video on what it's like to cheat on somebody, because I've cheated on people too. So I'm no saint by any means. I've been cheated on, and I've cheated also. And I can be very open and honest about both sides of it, because both sides of it actually do suck. I'm not going to say that, being the cheater side of it was any better than being the cheated on side of it, because you are living with a lot of guilt. But you have to really sit down together and determine, is this something we're going to work through or not? And there's a lot of damaging things that you can do if you're the one that really decides that you want to go through with this. You got to understand what it takes. And the other person has to understand what it takes. And that fear will always kind of be there. And it will take a long time, if ever, for it to go away. Because now all of a sudden there has to be that constant reassurance. There's always going to be that little spot in their brain of, hey, is he out or is she out cheating on me? It's always going to be there. And are you able to live with it? Is it worth it? Is the pros outweigh the cons? Write down everything you love about your relationship and everything that you don't like about your relationship if you have to. And kind of Ben Franklin it, where you see what side's greater and see if the risk of that is worth it. Because heartbreak is always going to be there. And it doesn't even matter if you're in a relationship or not that you've been cheated on. The risk of heartbreak is always there. So you have to be aware that this can always happen. And it's not being pessimistic. I think it's more being realistic that, there's always that chance that, somebody's going to start losing feelings for the other person, and you can't control that. You can only control your own actions. So when it comes to this, controlling your own actions and controlling what you want to do, and if you haven't noticed, it's all about you, of what you want to do is everything. And if you decide that you don't want to get back into the relationship and they're begging you because they cheated, but please, I don't want to lose this. It doesn't matter. It's your decision. And you got to stick to it. And it's not always the easiest to stick to it. There's guilt trips that are played. And I can tell you this, if people start to unleash the narcissism that they may be hiding inside them, of making you feel guilty, trying to manipulate you, trying to gaslamp you, don't fall for it. And that's multiple red flags. That my suggestion, if they're doing that, yeah, get out, because your relationship already was probably pretty toxic. But do you find you and make sure that you love yourself. Love yourself and do what you want to do. And don't let anyone dictate that for you, because you're an amazing human being. Finding what you want out of life and what you want out of a partner in life is everything. But having that open communication and taking time and slowing down makes a huge difference. I hope that this helps somebody out there. I know that a lot of us have been cheated on before, and a lot of us probably have cheated before. Hit the like and subscribe button, comment down below, because I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. Because the more that we share, the more that it helps people not feel alone. It helps you not feel as heartbroken. It helps you come to an understanding of what's happened, because it's so much emotion. It's something different when it's messing with our head, but when it's messing with our head and especially our heart, if we're struggling with depression, we're struggling with anxiety, this just collapses it even more. So comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. In the description box even, I have links to all my different social medias. I even have links to the mental health Discord communities that are created. It's free peer-to-peer support. It's having those people to be able to talk to and share with, to let it out. And let's face it, it helps us come up with what we want to do. It helps our brain kind of get massaged into going, okay, what do I want? What do I want? I have links down below to things on Amazon of, fidget cubes, fidget spinners, weighted blankets, things like that I use when it comes to my anxiety that help keep me out of my head and into the present. I have a link down below even to BetterHelp. I'm trial and error. Find out what works for you when it comes to therapy. I use it and it's great. But I mean, definitely if you are struggling with any kind of mental illness, definitely get a therapist. Please definitely get a therapist. They help tremendously. Whether it's BetterHelp, whether it's talk, whether it's one in person, whatever it is, find the right therapist for you. And it is trial and error to find the right therapist. I have a link down below to Renewal Recovery, mental health recovery, rehab, 30-day inpatient even if you want to try that, because you are the most important person in the world. And if you're struggling out there, you've got to take care of you. You've got to take care of you. So hit that like and subscribe button. And remember this, that you are a BAMF. You're a badass motherfucker. You've made it through 100% of your worst days to make it through 2 today. And you got this.